Honorable Chief Minister has mentioned yesterday in his address that we have still a lot of miles to go before we can say we are using IT effectively for good governance. So I have put as a kind of a food for thought for this session a few issues which I take a few minutes to expose. Then I will request the fellow panelists to give us their experience and their viewpoints on this important subject. So this is starting with the fundas, as they say. What do we mean by good governance? There was a report of UN which lists these universal virtues or characteristics of good governance: efficiency, effectiveness, responsiveness, transparency, accountability, equitability and inclusiveness, following the rule of law, consensus oriented and participatory. So this is a kind of a global view of the requirement of good governance, which is a superset of what all is expected from the governance. And if you can see, and with experience in this room, it doesn't need any further explanation that IT can do a lot in each one of these areas in its own way. Well, of course, when we talk of e-governance, it is governance first and E later. That is also fairly well established now, that if your house is not in order as a ministry, as a department, as an organization, IT can do pretty little. It will only add to the confusion. It will only divert people's mind and show some mirage for some time. So first, putting the house in order is more important than putting IT in place. Now, this is another view. Can we jump? Can we create all those 8 elements together at the same time in the governance scenario and use IT in the best possible manner? And again, the experience shows that it is not possible to, achieve the whole thing in one go, and you need to have a graded approach, a kind of a series of transformations that need to happen in steps so that you are ultimately there. At the base level, we are talking of efficient government or efficiency in government, which is doing things right, as they say. There is no scope for any mistake. If there is a mistake, there is a trial, audit trial, and so on. You can measure your own efficiency. You can say how efficient you are against the benchmark. What are the deviations? What can you do about it? At the next level is the effective government, that is the doing the right things. Are we addressing the right issues? Are we addressing the right problems? The problem is somewhere. You are putting grand infrastructure, other things elsewhere. It's not going to solve the problem which is at the core. So effectiveness, aligning the ICT efforts to the business needs of the enterprise, also called the enterprise architecture, if you have the enterprise architecture in IT terminology. That is the next step. And third is transparency, openness, where you are trying to throw up whatever you are doing should be visible to the public, success or failure both alike. The visibility part of it should be there. Then public know, they can judge who is doing right and who is on the, serving us better, and what more things can be done. Then comes, with that knowledge comes the participatory governance. You get comments, you get the feedback, you get the people involved in the whole thing. It's not as if, you versus I, citizen versus government. They're not juxtaposed, they're not opposed, they're not opponents any longer at that level, fourth level. That it is a collective responsibility to produce good governance at that point. And last but not least is the equitability. Are we reaching out to all the constituencies in the right manner? Are we looking at the far-flung areas, the disadvantaged groups, the people who have never seen computers? What do they have in it for them? Are they getting a rupee extra as a result of these efforts in what they earn every day? So this is a kind of an evolution that naturally happens, and trying to chew the whole thing at the same time, is a difficult thing. One has to do step by step. So that's number two. I would like to put that message also. Third is, what is it that you are trying to transform? I said that you have to set the house in order first before you think of ICT. This slide is a more granular description of that proposition. Transforming the polity itself. Do we have the right leadership? Do we have this electoral system that elects the right type of people first? You have everything, gadgets, everything else, but the electoral system is such that it doesn't throw up the right people there. There are a lot of movements, as you know, how to clean up politics. And decentralization. Also, once you have the power, you don't want to, shred an ounce of that power. Till the time, you are not in power, you will always say, no, it should be decentralized, all kinds of things. But once you are in power, it kind of intoxicates, and you don't want to shred an ounce of that. So transforming polity is at the top of the chart. Transforming the relationship. How do you empower the people? How do you engage people? How do you expose your data and information through RTI and other means? And the latest effort is the data.gov, where every data set that government has should be put out, except that which is exempted. Otherwise, universally you have to put out. That is the law of the land today. That is on the democracy side, government-people relationship side, on the top, portion. Coming to the more mundane things, transforming the government, transforming the legal system. Do we have the right BPR? Are we putting the old wine in the new bottle? Very often this is a mistake that is consciously, unconsciously committed by us, and in our anxiety to put things on ground, we put whatever is available on ground. Yesterday I was interacting with the SCMT team here in JNK. I asked them, why are you delaying putting the e-district RFP out and selecting a vendor? They told me, sir, we are going through a BPR exercise as is and to be, and what improvements we can make, etc., before we put out the RFP. This is the right, delay is there definitely, but at the end of the day, approach is right, BPR. Then you may have to change the law. I was just discussing with Yudhvir. E-office is as a concept has been there for 12 to 13, 15 years in this country, and yesterday Honorable CM also made a reference to that here. When it was confronted, some senior official said, no, I want to see my ink signed signature on paper. The law is there today. It has been there on the statute book for quite some time, but we are not, implementing it in the right spirit. We want the ink, paper trail and ink signature. So there is a need to change the legal system. Civil service itself needs rethinking, reformation, reinvention, and then service delivery itself has to be transformed. So these are all the various dimensions that I just want to expose at this point. That setting the house in order is a word that I used in the first slide. So how do you set your house? What do you mean by setting the house in order? Putting the house in order. Some of the examples I have quickly given here. Now, as far as deity is concerned, some initiatives, there are a lot more initiatives that I don't want to dilate on those things, but those which are touching upon directly, indirectly on the first few slides, I try to put together these 7. First and foremost is the National E-Governance Plan, which has been there with us for the last 7 years now, and we have about 20 projects which are giving services, and out of 31 we are halfway, at the halfway mark. Then outcome focus, right from the day I took charge as Secretary, I've been telling this like a madman almost, that outcome, outcome, outcome everywhere. Now it has translated to a concept called eThal, which is going to be launched very soon. That is e-transactions analysis, aggregation and analysis layer. If we are able to count, yesterday also in my mention, I did make an indirect mention of this. If you are able to count how many citizens you are able to touch each day, that is really the ultimate thing. I presume today in some of the demos, some of the interventions, we will see how it can be done, and it's being done in some of the projects. In real time, we should be able to see what's happening. That is one more thing, where through a simple web service, all the portals which are delivering services are aggregated through a web service, and then at the national level you can see, state level you can see what's happening and who is contributing what to the kitty. And our target is 1 crore citizens touched every day. Currently we are touching half a citizen a day or 1 citizen every 2 days, but which means that 50 lakhs level we are targeting by March 2014. But we are looking at 1 crore a day, that is 30 crores citizens touched every month in some manner. Then citizen engagement framework. We said participatory government, etc. In my earlier slides, I did mention how do you involve people, how do you see that they are part of the solution rather than part of the problem. A pointing finger becoming a strength to us and a part of the team. So we came out with a citizen engagement framework. We're going to take up 10 projects, both completed and ongoing, and take the views of the citizens as to how to further improve those projects. Continuously engage them right from conceptualization to completion and beyond. Engage this. How do you engage that? The framework is out there. And similarly, social media is a big thing today. There's a lot of base even in India. So how do you positively engage the social media as a government department? So one more area of concern. M-governance, 900 million plus mobiles there, some of them, and very soon going to get into smartphone mode. So M-governance is a big thing in future. So we have a framework there, and it's live and kicking. EDS bill, which tries to give that legal mandate and legal compulsion for putting services. These are all bricks in the overall edifice of good governance. That's why I'm mentioning it quickly here. The eGov App Store is a solution for preventing the reinvention of wheel. If something good has happened here, how do you quickly translate it into? We have tried out our hand and successfully replicated some projects using this formula. So very soon, eGov App Store, I'm hoping at the end of this month, early next month, is going to be launched. We have selected 20 applications nationally, which will be put on the eGov App Store. Just like Apple App Store, you can just download as a state, as an entity, as a municipality. These are all going to be there. Just download, straight away use it. Download, configure and use it. Download, change and use it. All possibilities will be there. So this is going to be a reality soon, and then the replication and the numbers that I'm picking suddenly go up, because as many more people are taking advantage of what is available, what has been all, the entire change management that has been followed, the entire case study, demo, everything is there at one place when you want to see a project in entirety before you adopt it. You must be convinced before you adopt the project. That is the story of eGov App Store. Quickly, there is more on each one of them beyond the thank you slide, but I request the organizers to put it on the web or on their proceedings so that you can review it at your own time. But I wanted to give a quick view of what is happening here. Now, finally, the critical success factors, we should have clarity at the beginning and what to do, what do we want to do, what do we want to achieve, what is the outcome, what is the objective, what is the service, how do you define the service, where does it begin, where does it end, what is the service level, how to do it, what is the architecture behind it, what is the business model behind it, and who will do it, how do you entrust it, should we do it in government, should we do it in partnership with private sector, and so on. And with what? How do you get the resource? So these are some of the issues. Measuring success. What is your benchmark for success? Do we call it internally, pat one's shoulder saying that this is a very good project, it has won some awards. Is it a good way? Or is there a way of measuring success? Metrics for quality of service. Very often, most of the projects I have seen even of late, because there is no BPR, it is a kind of a old wine in new bottle. People still will have to apply on a paper at a kiosk that is scanned and sent to a back end, comes back to the same village, to the same patwari, who inquires and then again clicks another button, it goes back and comes back. Another button clicked by Tahsildar, it comes back here. Is it quality of service? What is quality of service in relation to what you are going to deliver? Can it be across the counter? Instantaneous is the point. Business model, I spoke, building capacity to understand, digest all this stuff and putting it on ground is important. And environment for speedy decisions. This is also a mirage which we are chasing, but still we keep chasing, and that is what we are supposed to do. We need to create more, streamlined environments for decisions. And for the panel, I am posing a few issues, challenges. One is inadequate effort on BPR. This is my observation. I wish I am wrong. And similarly, inadequate innovation happening in these projects. Capacity constraints, despite the SEMUTs, despite the PMUs, despite other things. Infrastructure constraints, far-flung areas, connectivity issues. Procedural delays, things get months and months before a decision can be made, and at the end of the day, resource constraints. So this, I leave this at this point, except to say that there are several issues, but there is only one theme that we have to pursue, that is the outcome, and outcome. And I request you, I suggest that I am giving this message, make a difference, whatever you do. Thank you.